Hi, I'm Anthony Soto, Superintendent of Holyoke Public Schools and a proud graduate of HPS. When I was a student here back in the 80s and 90s, HPS was organized into distinct elementary and middle schools. But then in the early 2000s, our schools were reorganized so that some schools would serve grades K to 8. Of course, there was a lot about school back then that was different from today, but many people I hear from today, students, families, staff, school committee, community members, all agree that it would be great and better to return to separate elementary and middle schools. I think the prior decision to move to K-8 schools contributed to HPS being placed in receivership. While K-8 schools can work in some contexts, they haven't worked well here in Holyoke. Holyoke's move to K-8 schools was driven by a desire to save money on transportation costs without fully considering the full educational impact. Our K-8 schools have caused us to be operationally inefficient and have lessened the quality of education we could provide to our students. Back in 2015, many parents and staff asked us to change back to elementary and middle schools. I was a part of the team that helped study this issue and gathered feedback from the community. I remember meeting with families in the flats and families in Bolden Village and all over the city. And some wanted their 12-year-olds to have more learning opportunities and more independence at school. They wanted their 5-year-olds to have appropriate learning spaces for art and music and to be assigned to schools designed for their age. To all of our families, then and now, we hear you, and now's the time.
Hello everybody, I'm Joshua Garcia, Holyoke's mayor and chair of the school committee and the school building committee. I'm also the dad of 2 children in the dual language program at Metcalf School. More than 5 years ago, I was working with community and school leaders to build 2 new middle schools to strengthen Holyoke's middle school programming and allow us to return to separate elementary and middle schools. Unfortunately, the public vote for funding those schools didn't pass in 2019. So we've readjusted our plans and we're trying to now build 1 new middle school within our tax limit. The earliest a new middle school can be built, however, is in 2026. We can't wait that long to rezone our schools. Our dual language program is now in 3 schools, and as those students grow, they need a middle school with room for dual language programming. Metcalf is serving so many students that the Holyoke Public Schools had to rent space and a nearby building to accommodate middle school classrooms. Other schools like Peck and Holyoke STEM and Veritas Prep, soon to be called Holyoke Middle, they have to share school buildings. Meanwhile, some HPS schools are under-enrolled and they have empty classrooms. Smaller schools, while they sound good in theory, they're often inefficient. Depending on an enrollment in any given year, some classrooms may have 12 kids while others may have up to 28 kids. Sometimes there aren't enough resources for every child to have access to programs like art or music or the additional support they need in reading or math. In January, the school board unanimously supported Superintendent Soto's recommendation to move to distinct elementary and middle schools by the fall of 2023 and to redraw the school attendance boundaries to accommodate this. I recognize that the work is going to be difficult, but this is urgent and essential if we really want to give every child the education that they deserve.
Hi, I'm Erin Linville, Chief of Strategy for Holyoke Public Schools. I've worked in the district for 7 years, and I'm the district lead for the rezoning project. If you are confused by how our elementary and middle schools are configured, you are not alone. HPS has 9 different grade configurations across 11 schools. For this school year, we have schools that serve pre-K to 3, pre-K to 4, pre-K to 5, grades 4 to 8, grades 5 to 8, grades 6 to 8, pre-K to 7, pre-K to 8, and pre-K to 5 plus 8. This is clearly not ideal. We need to organize our schools in a more systematic way that supports student learning, educator development, and effective student-family school partnerships. As we look towards the future, we anticipate that HPS will need 6 elementary schools, which will serve either grades pre-K to 5 or K to 5, and 2 to 3 middle schools. In the short term, we will need 3 middle schools. And if we get a new middle school built at the Peck site, we we will have 2 middle schools of about 550 students each by 2026.
Hi, I'm Jackie Glasheen, an Executive Director of School Leadership at Holyoke Public Schools. I've worked in Holyoke my entire career. As a child, I attended Holyoke schools, and my kids did too. As a district and school leader, I can tell you that our current school structures and small enrollment make it challenging to give every child in Holyoke the support they need to be successful. There are 4 main reasons why we need to change how our schools are structured.
We need to and want to better prepare students academically and socially. Robust elementary and middle schools must offer high quality learning experiences. They have to focus on their students' developmental ages, and they have to have sufficient resources to ensure student success. I'm the principal of Sullivan, a pre-K-8 school, which means my one literacy coach supports literacy development from many teachers working with students at 10 different grade levels. This is insufficient and shortchanges our scholars. When a school is able to focus on either elementary or middle school students, but not both, we can do a better job setting up our students for success in high school and beyond.
We want to ensure continuity of programming for dual language and special education. I'm the principal at Donahue, which is one of Holyoke schools that offers specialized programs for students with autism. Children in autism programs should be able to stay with their peers from elementary to middle school. HPS must strategically match our enrollment and educational programming within the physical footprint of our school buildings. Then we will maximize inclusion opportunities and provide effective support for all students to learn.
We want to be more equitable. Students in school must have equitable access to resources and opportunity on our path to becoming an anti-racist, inclusive, and culturally responsive district. All middle school students should have the option to study world languages, not just those in the dual language program. And all students in dual language should have access to art, music, and STEM during their school career too.
We need to dedicate our resources to the classroom, not operations. Resources must be spent wisely so we can maximize the impact of our dollars on student learning and support. Investments must be sustainable over time. When we spread students out across too many buildings, the cost of electricity, pest control, custodial services, and other expenses is higher. When we have more students in the same grade level within each building, we can build more effective teacher teams to support students. Teacher teams should include general education, English learner, and special education teachers, and a counselor sometimes too. Making this change to separate elementary and middle schools will help us uphold an important equity commitment. We ensure that students, families, and staff get the support they need to be successful.
We made the decision to move to distinct elementary and middle schools because of broad community input. Now the tough work is ahead. Which schools should become elementary and which schools should become middle? And we have to decide how attendance zones will be redrawn. We want to include our Holyoke community in the process, so we invite you to be a part of our decision-making efforts. We designed an inclusive process because we believe it is important to seek out and incorporate the voices of those impacted with a particular commitment to include those who have been excluded in the past. Please be a part of the process. Together, we can make long-lasting, meaningful change for Holyoke.